Alright, so what we're going to do is I'm going to set my drop away rest and install the square. Now one thing that I do is just take the bottom of my lighter and flare out the loop material. I really prefer BCY. I've tried a couple different types of loop material, and BCY melts very nice, and it holds very tight. Some of the other loop material doesn't hold quite as nice in my opinion. So this is what I prefer. Once you melt the end, you want a nice diameter where it's melted. That way it's not going to pull through. Some people like to smush it. I don't. So we'll give that a second to dry and then set our square with the rest. Right, what I'm going to do is make sure that the drop away rest is all the way up, and then pull my square down until it sits nice and firm in the rest itself. You don't have to be flopping around there loose, because then your marks will be off when you tie your D-loop. So once you let go of the drop away rest, you actually will have a little bit of play, and that's okay, because when you're at full draw, that rest is going to be all the way up. Alright, so we got the two marks here in our square. I'm going to install my loop. Now, for me personally, I like the smallest, tightest loop I could possibly get. One of the procedures that I do when tying my loop is once I get my initial knot, I do pinch it together just so it holds a little tighter, and then really crank on it to make sure that bottom part is tight. And then for your top section of the loop, you want to make sure that you're doing half hitch knots and one loop is facing up and the other loop is facing down. What that does is it helps the knots to cinch against themselves to keep it from rotating around the serving. If you have both knots facing the same way, what it'll do is it'll actually start to travel down the serving just like threads on a screw. Alright, so for tying this top section of the loop, as long as you have the burnt section facing up, you're going to want to put your loop material over and through. I like to pull that nice and tight. And then you're going to cross above that, go under and through. And that's going to give you your half hitch facing the other direction. So over and through, and then under the string and back through. So then I'm going to pinch it to give it that nice tight hold and give it a good pull. Pinch it and pull. Next, I'm going to cut a little bit of the section of loop material off, and then use my knife here to fray this out nice and big. That way I get a large melted section on the top side as well as the bottom. Alright, so now that we got the melted ends dried on the loop, I'm going to put the pliers in here, give that a little bit of a stretch, grab my loop pliers, twist that guy in there, and then give it a little snug. Because of my draw length, I do like to have much smaller loop, but also that means a smaller nock on my arrow, so my release and my nock will fit in that.